Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy Saffron and this is Kitco Mining. Now today we're exploring a unique approach in the junior resource sector, one that offers both upside potential and diversified asset protection. Now Eagle Plains Resources, with its extensive portfolio across North America, a strong treasury, and an experienced management team, has returned over $100 million to shareholders through its strategic spinouts. Now, joining us to discuss all of this is Chuck Downie, the CEO of Eagle Plains Resources, which again trades on the TSX Venture under EPL. Welcome to the show, Chuck.
Thanks, Jeremy. Excited. My first Kitco interview.
First Kitco, awesome. Vancouver studio. It's fresh. I was saying just before, it's kind of nice to have a guest in here, often just in my ear. So welcome.
Perfect.
Let's talk a little bit about EPL. I mean, it's such an interesting company because it's been the steady Eddie in the marketplace. It's been around for certainly a very long time. And you almost have a little bit of this project generator model. It's a little different to the 5 pillars. So talk to me about the company.
So we've been around for over 30 years. Yeah. We're the 9th oldest company listed on the TSX-V. Yeah. So we've got lots of water under the bridge, that's for sure. And I'd say over those years, we've got a very, very loyal shareholder base. You know, a lot of the people that kind of got in at the beginning or still hold their shares. The company was started by Tim Tremundy and Bob Tremundy. We've always been working basically in exploration is really our focus. And that's kind of morphed into the project generator models, which is, I always say that I hate to use the word, but it's actually a sustainable business model. Yeah,
well, I want to unpack that because there's not many people that are doing this. And we talk about those 5 pillars, but the fact of the matter is, let's cut through the fat. You never have to finance because of these 5 pillars. You're making money.
We're one of the few companies that actually makes money. And, you know, the revenue comes from various sources. One of them is through, obviously through our option deals that we do. To try to de-risk these projects, we sign option deals with juniors and senior companies as well. And so that creates some revenue, some usually modest cash payments. I think we're very easy to deal with. I think we've got a pretty good rep for that. We give companies a really easy path to get 60 or 80% for a little bit of cash and some shares. We love to take lots of paper. A lot of the companies that we deal with don't have any money. So we're more than happy to take paper. And then we also do exploration work. And because of the way the company is structured, we have a wholly owned subsidiary that does geological consulting work. So then we use our guys, Terralogic Exploration, we use our guys to do the work on the projects. So that creates a bit of a revenue stream. And I always one thing I really like about it is that I always look at it like we've got this super talented technical team and somebody else is paying their wages for like 3/4 of the year.
Okay, let's talk a little bit, Chuck, about this model because this consulting business, it's almost like the picks and shovels. I find it fascinating because, again, you don't have to finance. It's making you revenue, and in a volatile, crazy market like today, that's important.
It's very important, and it works on so many levels. I mean, one level definitely is the cash flow is great because, you know, we get generally kind of $1 to $2 million a year in cash flow, which is fantastic. And as I mentioned, I always look at it like somebody else is paying the wages for 3/4 of the year, which is also great. But the other thing it's done for us is that, well, a couple things. One thing is that we've got a super experienced technical team that we can use whenever we want.
Right.
A lot of companies, they're always contracting stuff out because you can't afford to keep those guys around all the time. It's not a problem for us. If we want to do something, want to do a drill program, we've got the guys right there. The other thing it's done is we've hired a lot of people from away to come to move to Cranbrook because they like the lifestyle there. Yeah. So we've got a lot of employees who have been working for us for 10, 15 years. So we've actually got a succession plan. Yeah. So when Tim and I want to retire and step down, we've got people that are moving up through the company. We've just recently, I've moved into the president CEO role. Jesse Campbell, who was formerly managing Terralogic, president of Terralogic, he's moved into the vice VPX role. So now we've kind of got people that are coming in behind, so you can easily see, which is one of the hardest things as a junior company because you can't just walk away from it, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
So we've got a really good succession plan in place, so that's a super important part.
So the succession plan, it brings me to this next topic because we talk about juniors in this space and a lot of them don't have access to capital. Now we know you don't need that, which is not diluting your share structure. But how important is that team? I mean, in a place like today where G&A costs are running crazy for a lot of these juniors, you guys have had this approach for 30 years. And as I mentioned, $100 million returns to investors out of spinoffs, not a bad ROI.
No, it's been excellent. And as well, coming back to the G&A part of it, we also own real estate in Cranbrook. So we own our own office building and we've got the downstairs rented out. So basically, our office costs are zero. So I mean, if you're in Vancouver here, you're paying like $5 or $6 grand a month for office. You know, you could be paying 70 or 80 grand a year. We pay nothing for all of our office space.
Right. So you're more focused on the actual assets.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's turn over to it because you got some fascinating ones. Obviously, in Canada, I know there's some porphyry in BC. Talk to me about what's exciting you on the asset side right now.
Yeah, we've got some excellent porphyry projects. We've been working really hard. A lot of the through Jesse Campbell. He's really good with the research. We've got an excellent research team. So we've been, recognized obviously the value for BC. A lot of the value is the gold, copper gold porphyries. So we've got 2 excellent projects. We've got, I think we have 15 porphyry projects. 2 kind of come to mind. One is the Theory project. It's up in the Lawyers Camp. It's adjacent to Thesis Gold. And then we've got another one, Mont Poly West, which is adjacent to the Mont Poly mine. And they're both excellent projects. Another big part of our project generator model is that we create listing properties. So both those projects have had $100,000 spent on them. So they qualify for listing projects. So if people are want to get listed, if they've got a CPC and they're looking for a project, those things are all ready to go. And another place we've been working extensively for probably close to 20 years is Saskatchewan. We really like Saskatchewan. And originally we started out there doing kind of uranium rare earth stuff. Then it morphed into a lot of the gold stuff, which was one of the spin-outs we did was Taiga Gold. But the last 3 or 4 years, we've been doing a lot of uranium staking, and we've got some excellent projects there. And we signed an option deal with Excite, which is 6 projects around the Uranium City area, very underexplored. 4 of the projects actually have producing mines on them. And that area is just kind of coming back into focus because there's potential there. There's always been these kind of narrow, high-grade veins up there. But when you look at the geology up there, there's no reason you couldn't have that high-grade basement-hosted stuff up there too. So that's really what we're focusing on up there.
So fascinating. Okay, get into Excite a little bit on that uranium side because it's fascinating to me the fact that you're in precious metals, but critical minerals as well. It's almost like a collaborative approach. How important is it to think about these types of decisions for the future?
Well, I would say that we're commodity agnostic. We're not really flavor of the month guys per se, but we can recognize quality projects, and we always know that if you have a quality project, eventually it's going to come back into vogue. And having the ability through our technical team to be able to do good work on those projects, write good reports, be able to put together good presentation decks, makes them very compelling for people that are looking for partners.
Talk to me about your focus in North America. I mean, primarily you're in Canada. Is that just because it's easier to do business here?
I think for the most part, I think for a while there, our mantra was we would never have a project that we couldn't drive to in 2 days from Cranbrook.
Right.
And we're kind of sticking to that. I mean,
it works well.
Well, sometimes the drive means you got to fly into Fort McMurray or drive to Fort McMurray and fly, but whatever. But, most of our projects you can get to in 2 days. So that's a big deal. And, working in another jurisdiction, there's tax implications and you got to set up another company and all that. So yeah, we're pretty happy. And realistically, everything you could ever want for exploration as far as precious, base, critical metals, everything's right here in Canada, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of known here. I mean, it's been done before.
Yeah, we know the tenure system really well. It's just politically stable jurisdiction. Yeah, all that.
Okay, when you talk about share structure, the cost of capital is very expensive these days. We know it. A lot of juniors having a very tough time. We got into the fact that you don't have to go and finance to market, but how important is it to have that stability in a market like today where the cost has been so high?
Oh, it's super important. And I think we are sort of, we don't really care what the market is.
Yeah.
When the market's like they are right now, not very good, well, we can go out and stake. We can spend, not a lot of money, but this year we probably spent on our own projects, probably maybe $400,000, something like that.
Right.
So we got the cash to go out there and do that. We don't have to go to the market to do that. We can develop these projects, get them into the stage where it's going to be listing projects. But when the market turns, eventually, which we all think it's gonna, know it's gonna turn sometime, we're gonna have a whole stable of companies that are gonna be flying out the door, right?
Yeah, so you're not in that camp of just complaining about equity prices now.
No, don't really care. I mean, it'd be great if the stock was at 30 cents. It'd be great if we had a bunch of liquidity, but we don't, and it doesn't it doesn't keep me up at night, really.
I want you to do a better job of kind of explaining how that spin-off structure works, just for an investor who maybe won't get the ROI off of the, the volume on the share price and maybe these spin-offs.
So the spin-offs are definitely an integral part of our business model. Every 4 or 5 years, we have 50 projects, right? So we've got a ton of projects, and there's always projects tend to get lost in there for various reasons. Maybe you have a copper project. Copper's on vogue. All of a sudden, copper's on vogue. Well, what are we going to do with it? It's lost in all these other projects. So what we do is we create a new company, and we spin it out. And if you're an Eagle Plains shareholder, you get a proportion of shares. Like if you've got one Eagle Plains share, one Eagle Plains share, you get a half share. However it works. So it's usually on a 1-to-2 or 1-to-3 basis. Right. And then what that does, you put the projects in this new company, and we always say we build this company to get bought. That's the only reason we do this. We're not going to compete with Eagle Plains. We're not going to go and pick up more projects. We did this thing just so this thing could get bought. Totally. It sits out there on its own. And it allows us, if we want to, we could finance that other company without diluting the Eagle Plains shareholders. And I think a great example of that, we've had a couple of tremendous wins with Copper Canyon was a huge one, but the most recent one was Taiga Gold. Right. And I think it really wraps the whole project generator model around. We staked a bunch of claims in Saskatchewan next to the CB mine. And when Claude Resources had it, they were not interested in doing any kind of option deal. When Claude got bought out by Silver Standard, now SSRM, right away, they started talking to us. We did an option deal with them. And it worked on a bunch of different levels for us, actually. It's not an ideal for our business model because they did all the work. So our company didn't really get much work out of it. But they were really good with their data. So we learned about greenstone belt exploration, which was huge for us because we didn't really know a lot about that. But the other thing about it is they spent over $5 million, SSRM, before they found anything that we would put in a news release. So if you're a junior company out there doing exploration, you're $5 million at 10 cents, we would have hundreds of millions of shares. So it didn't cost us anything. And then we sold the company for cash for millions of dollars, right? So it worked out great, and the shareholders got a good dividend out of it. So it worked great.
And friendly to do business with as well.
Super, we're super easy guys to do business with.
Looking forward, we know that there's no crystal ball here, but looking forward to shareholders, if you're saying over the next year, what do you suspect is going to be some of the catalysts for the company?
I think it's going to be the copper porphyries. I think we're going to get a couple of those out of the door for sure. And I also think that once the markets start to get a little bit better and there's money coming back, we are going to get all these projects out the door. There's going to be a lot of news. We've got 8 option deals right now and 1 joint venture deal, but they're kind of in various stages. A lot of companies are broke and they just can't. But once the capital starts to come in, they're excellent projects, wide exposure commodities. We've got 2 great uranium deals, option deals going right in Saskatchewan right now. We've got an excellent gold project, the Donna, which is under option. We hopefully get a couple more of those copper porphyries out the door. So I think there's going to be a really steady, once things turn around, there's going to be really steady news flow. But for all the investors, you got to just remember that right now, although our stock's kind of hanging around 10 or 11 cents, we've got lots of cash in the bank, and we are working hard, behind the scenes to keep increasing our war chest of projects. Yeah,
it seems like the consultants in the geological group get to see some hidden treasures maybe as well.
Oh, for sure they do. It's been a really good business model, and the other reason I think it works really well is because we're in Cranbrook. When Tim got this company going, I think that was one of his mantras, is it was always going to be run from Cranbrook. We were never going to go to Vancouver. We were never going to move guys down here. If it was going to work, it was going to work from Cranbrook. And that's allowed us, like I said, to attract lifestyle people, right? Guys want to move to Cranbrook. They want to be able to afford a house. They want to go skiing on the weekends. They want all that stuff, right? They want the small town. It's not for everybody. A lot of people have moved, that have joined our company. They don't relate to small town. But a lot of the guys that are with us now really like it, so they stuck around.
And Tim, who's been with the company for years, he's just went over to the royalty side for a spin-out, so he's still actively involved here?
Yeah, so Tim's managing the royalty company, so that was our latest spin-out, Eagle Royalties. So, it was another one. We had multiple royalties, and we created a bunch of royalties, Eagle Plains. We had a bunch of royalties we've acquired through different property deals that we'd done, and they were basically sitting in our company, and we carried them at zero. Our book value on those royalties was zero. And We bundled them all up, started this new company, Eagle Royalties. Now we got a market cap. We're 5.7 million market cap. We just sold a bunch of projects in Saskatchewan using the Eagle Plains model. We'd staked a bunch of uranium projects that kind of just on spec. We didn't really think they had a lot of value, but somebody else thought they had a lot of value, and they, ultimately down the road they probably will to to another royalty company. So we sold those for a bunch of cash. So from a year ago, we created this new company, 5.7 million market cap. We got almost 4 million in the bank and another 1.2 million coming in promissory notes. So that company's all cashed up too.
No kidding.
And a year and a half ago, it was nothing. Those assets were zero.
Yeah.
Literally,
No,
that was how we carried it on the books.
It certainly says something to the management. You're new to this company, but in this new role, what are you most excited about doing coming forward?
I think in my new role, I'm really looking forward to doing more deals. I always like to do the deals. Actually, I really enjoy that. And just watching the company continue to grow, watching the people come up behind, the younger people that we're hiring, and I'm really excited about the BC Porphyry stuff. I think we've got a couple. We've got some great projects, but I really think that Mount Poly West and the Theory project they're real winners.
Yeah, certainly. And copper is certainly not going anywhere as well.
Yeah.
We just had a fascinating discussion about it on Kitco Mining. Chuck Downie, the president of
Great, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Eagle Plains,
Great
thank
interview.
you. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
I'm Jeremy Saffron. For all of us here at Kitco Mining, thank you for joining. Don't forget to hit that notification button. We'll have certainly a lot more this week. We'll see you next time.